Welcome to KCIW 100.7 FM and KCIW.org, Brookings, Oregon. Welcome all you wonderful listeners on our Southern Oregon coast and our Northern California coast. As we start with every single podcast and radio show that I do, we start with It's a Brand New Day, and people get to respond with Never Been Lived Before. I have two amazing guests sitting right here with me today, and we're going to see if they can remember this. Never been lived before is your answer. It's a brand new day.
It's never been lived before. I froze, I'm sorry.
It's never been lived before. They got it. Fantastic. Well, KCIW radio show people, this is also the Gadio show, named by these two people sitting across from me, Will and Viv. I'll give a little formal introduction in just a little bit. But this show is about LGBTQ, stories and tips, along with religion, church, faith, and spirituality. Simply put, it's joy, freedom, courage, confidence, and collaboration. I was also given the title of the Great Communicator, so we're going to communicate as much as we can from our heart and our soul to you, the great listeners of this area. The purpose of our show is to spread the joy and the freedom, hence the title, Joyously Free Radio Show. Yes, it's the second book that I wrote along with co-author Elizabeth Ann Atkins and 32 contributing writers, in which there is one person here today that is in that book as well. And that book has been nominated for a Lambda Award, which is very, very cool and prestigious. So I thank you for that, and I thank you, Will, for being in the book. Together, let's seek understanding. Let's think out of the box, knowing that abundant love and gratefulness is all around us and with our friends right here on the coast. Instead of a prayer today, I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my None Better book. It became an Amazon ebook bestseller number 24. And so instead of prayer, it's just about 5 or 6 paragraphs. And it's going to talk about our love story. And there's a reason why I'm reading this story today. Just as a little prelude, when I joined the novitiate for the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, in 1983, I was introduced to, at that time I didn't know it, the love of my life. And so it starts with the first time that I heard her voice. A short time later, on Christmas Day, the surprise of a lifetime happened. Joanie, phone call from Idaho for you. A sister called from the hallway where the convent phone was located. A spot where everyone could hear your conversations. Back in the 1980s, only landline phones existed and long-distance calls were expensive. No one had received calls from their new mission locations. I eagerly took the phone and heard the most unique and joyous voice ever. It was Sister Carol, and she said, "Merry Christmas, Joanie." I felt so darn special. My cheeks turned red, my eyes bulged, and even the air tasted sweet. Sister Carol called me to say Merry Christmas. Sister Frances chimed in, "We are looking forward to seeing, meeting, and working alongside you." Then Sister Carol said, "I really am glad that you and I get to work together. I've heard that you are vibrant and energetic and a teacher. We just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas and welcome you to the Northwest. See you soon and travel safely." Never in my life had my insides done backflips and cartwheels after simply hearing a voice. Soft, slow, gentle, and happy, her voice struck me as a shooting star from the heavens, eliciting calm yet incredible joy deep within me. It's still difficult to find words to describe the spirit of love circling me in that moment, lighting sparks that would later burst into flames. Our less than 2-minute call was exhilarating, out of the blue, and personally for me. Wow, how special I felt. What an honor, what a gift. After the call, Sister Carol's spunky, joyous tone reverberated through my entire being, awakening something in the deepest crevices of my heart. I didn't know what that was. It felt amazingly light, beautiful, and holy, like guardian angels were looking over me. This blessed me with a permanent smile as her voice played over and over in my mind, and my heart said to trust in God with all your heart. Proverbs. I believe that God had called me to religious life to meet Carol. I believe God orchestrated the serendipitous circumstances for us to fall in love. Jesus hold you. God bless you. That is our prayer for today. And without any further ado, talk about love. We're introducing you, great listeners in KCIW, to Will Jaster and Viv Ashton. Our topic today is their story, being trans and in love. Welcome, Will and Viv. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
You bet. You bet. Well, I can't wait for everybody to get to know you like I know you. So let's start off and kick this thing off with, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Who would like to go first?
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, hon? You can go first if you want to. All right. So, as Joanie said, I am Viv Ashton. I'm Vivian. I don't know. It's hard to say a whole lot about myself. Honestly, I have like all these labels that I throw at myself, like alphabet soup on a wall when you get angry. But at the end of the day, I just kind of feel like a piece of driftwood, floating on the sea, and I don't mind that. But if you want to know something specific and a little less pretentious, I like to write, and I like to make video games. I like to play video games. I have a job, I guess. I don't know.
How old are you and where do you work?
I work at a local grocery store, and I am, holy heck, I'm 20.
You're 20 now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's a great introduction of yourself.
Yeah, I'm 20, and I'm turning 21 in the end of this year.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Viv. Thank you. Let's go over to Will. Will, what's a little bit about you to know?
All right. Well, my name is Will. Similar to Viv, I enjoy doing a lot of writing. That was actually one of the ways that we really started to bond with each other when we first met. I am planning on moving up north to go to college for mortuary sciences. And that's been really interesting, putting in the work to actually go out there and do that. But yeah, that's like the two main things about me that I can think of. And I'm also 18, going to be 19 in June. So that's also exciting, experiencing all kinds of independence for some of the first time in my life.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Oh, I love that introduction of yourself. And oftentimes it is hard because we don't want to put a label on us. We just want people to accept, love, and cherish us. So speaking of cherish, how about talking about how did the two of you meet?
Oh, that's a fun one. This is gonna be good.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or do you want to start?
I can start off. We actually had first met each other over the phone as well. It wasn't as personalized as a call, though. I was dragged into a group phone call by an old friend of ours, and she just kind of sprung it on me, like called me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, so I have another line going on with like my girlfriend and some random guy you don't know. You want to join us?" And because I was incredibly tired that day, and I was like, okay, just fine. And that was when I first met Viv, because she was that strange guy I did not know.
Yeah. I'm very strange. That part didn't change about this transition.
Uh-huh.
I feel like you've gotten stranger with time.
That's fair. That is fair. I've gotten stranger.
And how's that?
The stranger part?
Yes.
Well, instead of bottling up all the weird ideas and things that I say and ways that I act in a little metal tin can, I instead open that tin can and let it out.
Wow. That's awesome. And when did you do that? For the first time?
For the first time, first of all, when the ADHD said, no, you can't hold back anymore, that happened in early childhood. But when my frontal lobe was more developed, if that's what you mean, that kind of time frame, I gotta say it was, it was, I think honestly just being able to, the first time I got to call Will just one-to-one, because we both just kind of, he was a little more tempered than I was at first, which is understandable. But I was, I just kind of spewed it all out. Like, I just had so many different thoughts in my brain that didn't feel welcome anywhere else, but it just found like, when I was with Will, I found someone who would be more than willing to listen, who sounded genuinely interested in, and it wasn't just like doing it out of obligation or friendship, but it's just like, wow, I actually want to hear what you have to say.
Wow. And that felt so incredible.
Yeah, that really felt incredible.
Yes. Similar to Carol and I in our story. You just feel that, there's something there that's just really natural and just beautiful. Yeah. Will, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I remember that first one-on-one call. It happened pretty shortly after that first group call. Because the more that group call went on, we ended up talking with each other a bit more, and I, was able to open up to her a bit more. And while I was still, trying to figure out how to trust people, it was and still is at times hard for me to trust other people. But I was, willing to just take a chance and try and reach out to this person a little bit more. And I mean, we both had similar interests, so I figured it wouldn't hurt. I was really nervous the first time that you had asked, hey, do you want to just call each other without a group call. I remember freaking out and telling my mom, Mom, this person that I just met wants to talk with me one-on-one. I'm scared. And she's like, well, does he make you feel scared? I'm like, no, I don't know how to talk to people. And she's like, well, just call, just do it. And I was like, okay. And the more we started talking, the more comfortable it felt. I struggle a lot with being able to talk with other people. I hardly feel like I am understood by many people, just due to the way that I interpret social cues and my inability to understand when is the right time to bring up certain topics and things like that. It honestly makes it very discouraging for me to reach out to other people. But with Vivian, I never really felt that. It felt natural to be able to talk to her because I didn't have to force myself to change how I was talking to be able to actually talk with her. And that's one of the most exhausting parts of it, having to change myself to talk the way that people would normally expect you to. Because it would be incredibly exhausting, and eventually the conversation would be more so me focusing on sounding normal enough to get my point across instead of actually having a real conversation. And I don't think I ever felt that way around Vivian, and that was a breath of fresh air.
Awesome. Viv, any response?
I think what's most fascinating about it is that at the end of the day, we really met and bonded because we both needed someone to really talk to, someone who would listen. Of course, it was slightly different in exactly how in each of us, but for instance, he needed to be understood and trusted and feel trust, and I just needed someone who would be actually invested in what I was saying. And it's having that mutual trust and listening, and that's something I want to talk about, especially when it comes to the topic of love. Real love does a lot more listening than you might think, because a lot of people think real love is sitting on a bench, holding hands, being embarrassingly affectionate with each other, and just you think a lot about the actions. And real love is, I've learned being with Will, is a lot about commitment. It's about commitment and listening. Because, sure, you can do all these things, but when you're in love, you're sharing yourself with another person, and they're sharing themselves with you. So you you got to take a minute to listen.
I see Will's nodding his head. Will?
It takes a lot of work to be able to love someone, especially in a very like full love kind of way. And I think it's also about balancing like the effort and how much it's worth it to you as well. Because sometimes there's just relationships where no matter how much work you put into them, it's just not worth it. But with Vivian, I feel like it's absolutely worth it because, I mean, I'm not just helping her to grow, I'm helping myself to grow as well by, working on this relationship more and being there for her and committing to it as much as I can, because like it can honestly be exhausting to be around someone you love, especially if you're, around each other on a day-to-day basis. Like that's just a normal thing that happens, but in the end, it's absolutely worth it because the whole that it's a part of is just so much more.
Wow. There's a mic drop right there. There's a mic drop. Yeah. What are you thinking, Viv? I thought I saw your head go up and down there.
I was just kind of doing the thing of looking at my partner. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. In the non-trans world, we hear a saying a lot that says love is love. And I love your description of love and listening and trust, and that sounds like that was there from the time you started your one-on-one phone calls. Mm-hmm. Has it improved since then, deepened or whatever?
That's kind of funny because like in some ways it's definitely deepened. Like we've instead of talking about video games, we talk about our day-to-day lives now, and that's surprisingly intimate and open.
Mm-hmm.
Like sharing your day-to-day life with someone is on like a both listening level and like actually being there for each other level. That's pretty big.
It's very big. It's very big.
But in a sense, it still sometimes just feels like still that same first call. We're just chatting and having fun. I don't know. It always feels good. Like you said, it feels natural.
Feels good and natural. You betcha.
Do you have anything you want to say, hon?
Try to think if there is anything that I'd want to say about this. I mean, like, you said it pretty well yourself, and like, I don't know, just being able to have a lot more like smaller, quieter conversations with you. I find that with like being in love, I honestly enjoy the more like routine, I guess one might call it boring, type of just conversations and lifestyle, because like that routine really shows me that if we keep going this way, then there's a good chance that you could be in my life for the entirety of it. And like that means a lot. I mean, like, it's not like we're, boring 100% of the time. We still, we try our best to, make things interesting every now and then. But it's not something that we have to force to try and keep the relationship going. We just, we just do things for each other like that.
And you do it out of love.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it out of love. It's not a have to, it's a get to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good way to describe it. Like, it doesn't feel like an obligation to like have to maintain the relationship. It's just, something that you put in work for because you really, really want it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, every single day, that routine, you're being vulnerable in one sense, but in another sense, you're just being you. You're joyously free, as in my second book. That's what I call that moment when there's no other way but this.
Well, that's something I want to say, because like that's something I've been thinking about when I got this topic, because it's like this love really changed me. I was chained up in my own body, brain, heart. I was chained up, like every aspect of myself was just, it was very fake and artificial. It was like, it was like I'm stuck inside of a mechanical body, just like using just like lifting my legs, trying to put effort into lifting my legs, breathing, waking up, eating. Everything was so difficult, you know? And then I think one thing that like being in love is, that's really overlooked in being in love, is like not just being in love with another person, but being in love with yourself at the same time. Because like that was, I fell in love with Will first before I fell in love with myself. And then he started talking, and he's just pointing out all the things, like as we grew closer and became in a relationship, he's just like, so I'm talking about all the things he loves about me. He's just like, how do you love those things about me? And then I just think about it and I go, wow, those are lovable things about me, and I can care about myself. And that's, and I want to tie that into your other topic, because we've touched up on that, like, not at all. And I actually want to get that in before we...
Okay, let's talk.
But yeah, like, it transformed me. Like, I'm not trans because I'm in love. Like, just being in love with myself allowed me to be trans.
Oh, yes. High five to you on that one. Yes, Viv. Elaborate on that, can you?
Yeah, I wanted to know if Will had anything to say on it before I like took up the whole floor and started running my mouth.
I find it interesting how you introspected on that, especially from like an outside looking in perspective. Like, one of the reasons why it was really hard to trust you at first was because like I could just feel that trapped vibe emanating off of you, and it was honestly kind of difficult to trust you because of that, because it felt like you were always just so cynical and just not happy. And I just noticed over time like that began to lessen more and more. And from my perspective, it's, you know, you started working on yourself, and you were, you know, allowing me to be there in the moment to see that progress. And especially like when you came out, it was like you started to become a whole different person. I mean, you weren't instantly happy like right away because you were only just figuring things out, but it was like a weight was taken off of your shoulders. And it's really interesting for me to think about that, because like I was already out as trans when I first met you, and so like it was interesting to see like what could be possible hints of that actual self of yours poking through, but I wasn't gonna say anything because, well, you know, that's your own journey to figure out. If you want me there for that journey, that's great, but I can't tell you to go down that path. That's something you have to figure out for yourself.
And that's free will. That's choice. That's total love. That's not infatuation controlling anything. That's giving the freedom to the other person, to them, for them to be their best self. Is that true?
I would say so. Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your trans story then, Viv?
Oh man, I think what's kind of funny is that like I would find like, I think one of the things that should have like clued me in about being a woman is the fact that like all the aspects of manhood, like to me when I still identified as a man, was it didn't feel right. I could see the positivity of masculinity in other men, like Will, like my dad. I could see positive masculine aspects in people, but every masculine aspect about me was just like, this isn't right. I'm not doing it right. I hate it. I'm wrong. There's something like that. I don't know why I didn't think of this about things earlier when this happened to me, but when I was a kid, it was like I was just coming to terms with like the like what a man should be and stuff like that, and just thinking about all the violence associated with it. I just went to myself and I was like, I don't think I can be a man if this is what being a man means. Now, I don't know if that has more to say about society or about me, but
Or both.
Or
A little
both.
bit of both.
Little bit of both. But yeah, that's and then like that old friend that we were talking on the phone with, that introduced us to each other, like had one day had said like, maybe you're non-binary, and that was just like, that was a little catalyst, you know, a little thought. Yeah, so like that's my story. That just started like I don't want to say a spiral, but it just felt like, you know, when you go on a slide, when you're a kid and you go up to a slide, or you're in like a swim park and you just go down that water slide and you're just having a blast, like going downward and enjoying it and like letting yourself go. That's what it was like.
Wow. Wow. And letting go. That's an awesome description of what that feels like and what it is like. I can't believe how fast time is going. We're down to like 20 seconds of Viv and 20 seconds of Will to say your last and final comments today on KCIW.
I'm going to shut up. I'm gonna shut up now so Will can say something.
Okay.
15 seconds.
Okay. I'm just glad that we got the chance to both talk together. I feel like we've only like scratched the surface and that there's so much more we could have said. But hey, we made the best of the time that we had, and that's cool.
You bet. And where can we get a hold of you if the people want to talk to you? Through KCIW, through me, through around town?
Well, I mean, it's a small town, so I'm sure people will bump into me eventually. But I guess through KCIW as well.
You betcha. You betcha. So people out there, if you're interested in touching base, 541-661-4098 will be the number to get a hold of KCIW. Will and Viv, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being hopeful. I hope all the listeners out there have also felt the vibes from Will and Viv today, and how gutsy it is, how courageous and confident they are in collaborating with each one of us to learn a little bit more about love, about trans, and about our community and our society. We thank Mike Gorse, who's on the radio, the filming or the sound today, as well as Tom Bozak, Candace, and Rose for making all this happen on KCIW. I thank twosisterswriting.com for helping me write the books that I did. And of course, we want to say to everybody, have a great day, wear bright colors, and have big smiles, because love is everywhere and love is everything. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.